Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today, I have a powerhouse of a guest. I see her at conferences. I actually met her a few weeks ago, and she is always adding value to other people, always wanting to help other people, and always somebody that's nice to talk to. And I just couldn't wait to have her on my show. She is a co-founder of the APAC Women's Mentoring Circle. She helps businesses grow, raise capital. She buys, scales, and also sells businesses. She's an award winner. She's the chair of like boards and directors and all kinds of stuff. And she is also known as the billion-dollar, yes, that's with a B, M&A merger and acquisitions engineer. So please welcome the amazing Cissy Ma.
Thank you very much, Fong. I'm really glad, honored to be on your show.
Well, thank you very much for spending time here and being here. Because like I said, I saw you a few weeks ago, and I'm like, you know what? I see you all the time, and I said, I gotta have you on my show because you do so many amazing things. And when we talked about the mergers and acquisitions, you focus on deals that are 7 to 8 figures big. So that is absolutely amazing. But before we jump into those questions, tell us your story. How did you get to the person who's dealing with all these big numbers today?
Well, how did I get here? Yeah, I didn't set up to be here. Definitely, when I came, I came to Australia in 1991 to study, and I was going to basically, when I finished university, I was going to go back to Hong Kong. There was a safe bank job waiting for me there. But after I've been here for a couple of years, I went back to Hong Kong, and I just feel like such a big difference, and really enjoy the culture here in Australia. Very laid back, very friendly, back in 1991. And there were, I guess back then there weren't too many Asians here. It was still quite, when I went to university, I was one of the only 2 Asians in the class, basically. And now I think about 5 years ago, I did a guest lecture back in the University of Queensland into a room full of 100, I think it was Master of Financial Accounting. And when I did a selfie, it was like the entire room, there was only 5 Australians. The 95 were Chinese. Not Chinese, but Asian. So when I took the photo and I put it on the social media, my friends are saying, "Are you back in China now?" It was so funny. But anyway, so my professional career basically started very, like as normal. You finish your university. I did my master's and taught in the university, and then got a job at the Queensland Treasury Corporation, which is basically the treasury for the entire Queensland government. 98% of the debt of the Queensland government, they basically raise it. And there was a lot of structured finance transactions, a lot of cross-border leases, a lot of, really big transactions. That's where the B started, like everything is on Bs. We had, I think, I can't remember, maybe $20 billion back then of assets being managed. Then a few years later, I basically got poached by one of my clients, which is another big company that has, I think at the time, 26,000 employees. And, it's a rail company. And I started working there to do a similar job as what I was doing in corporate finance, in structuring deals, in investment appraisals, investment structuring. I actually did the investment framework in that company, and which is still being used right now. It's more than 10 years later, 20 years, probably around 20 years later, it's still being used, the investment framework. So I felt I was 14 years into that company. Actually got the company got listed on the stock exchange, and I was involved in the actual listing of the company. It was a $5 billion list, and I was the head of basically the sell side due diligence, and got listed, and then worked there for a little while as well. And then I felt, where do I go now? You know, the last job I had there was the chief of staff for the CEO, pretty much, you know, the very head level, and it was a $10 billion company back then in 2015, 16. It was a $10 billion company.
Wow.
So I felt like there was, you know, I've done loads of different things, loads of transactions, but it feels, even though I was, you know, very close to the CEO, the CEO had $8 million of like salary, was $8 million. So it's not a small CEO, right? But it's still like I feel like a small kind of a screw or small cog in the big machine. You know, even though you can make a lot of contributions, it still doesn't feel like you're really making that much change. You know, the last job I had there, I was responsible for basically managing a program of $240 million in getting $240 million of cost out of the organization. And that was, you know, overall all of the organization. You talk to so many people and you do so many different things. But you come across, like, I feel like I was probably an entrepreneur at that time. I was wanting to make so many changes in the organization that you're kind of, it is a big Titanic. You know, you wanted to move the Titanic, but it just takes so long. It is so slow to move. So I got the entrepreneur itch. I think I always had it, but it's an entrepreneur itch. But then I, you know, basically decided that I wanted to do something, you know, that I can actually make a bigger contribution to people's lives. So basically went and worked for a consulting company, one of the largest Chinese accounting firms. I thought that way I would be able to help both the Chinese and Australian people about, you know, with their businesses and in a way that's similar to, you know, basically helping them with mergers and acquisitions, acquisitions, deploy divestments and things like that, due diligence, etc. But then I realized that working for other, you know, consulting companies, you have to work in their framework because, you know, they had a standard as, you know, every companies has to have a $10 million per annum revenue before we can provide, you know, some sort of M&A service to them, which is very, you know, 10 mil, it's like what they call the bulge bracket, where 10 mil to maybe 200 mil is the most M&A transactions happen. But there are probably 50 or 100 times more firms that are under 10 mil, you know, from 1 mil to 10 mil. But they are the people that really need help because they don't have the KPMGs, they don't have the PwCs to help them. They actually do need help from someone who's done it, who actually knows how to do the transactions and how to prepare for the sales, like, you know, how to make the house more beautiful, or not more beautiful, how to take, you know, I think bring out the best features of the house for the employee, for the people who want to buy it, you know, and how to market the house the best and things like that. So that's why I decided to start my own business about 4 years ago, and I never looked back.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. When you look back at your journey there, was there one point in time where you go, wow, that's a big number? Or were you just kind of gradually able to keep on moving up with bigger and bigger numbers?
Yeah, it's funny because at that time, when you're dealing with billion-dollar transactions, it doesn't actually feel big because
just zeros.
it is just zeros because when you're dealing with a billion-dollar transaction, you have at least a team of 10, 20 people working with you on that. You know, you have got the entire, there's like, you know, reels and reels of due diligence material. The financial models are humongous. So I guess when you talk about big, that those are the things that are big. When you look at a data room for $1 billion transaction, it is probably got hundreds of documents in there. But because at the time you have 20 other people working on it, you can allocate each person one task to do this. So everyone is a specialist in doing something. It doesn't feel that big. For me, I was managing those transactions. I was like, okay, please go. You're the specialist in legal. You look at that legal. You're a specialist in tax. You look at the tax bit. It's like playing chess. So I guess it's everyone falls in these pieces, and then it doesn't actually feel like it's such a big transaction. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's actually harder to do a smaller transaction than a large transaction, proportionally, because of you actually the efforts that's required of you personally. You have to do so many things, and sometimes smaller businesses are not really prepared in terms of their processes and procedures, so you need to help them with that. I've worked on companies where their financials, last 3 years financials, they are all different numbers compared to what they, told the tax office. So you got to explain why, right? Otherwise, the acquirer might be thinking, "Hey, are these guys cooking the books?" They're not necessarily cooking. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that. They're not cooking the books, but they are just not doing it in a way that is, in the best, because they're sort of misaligning stuff. Yeah.
Now, you work with so many big businesses. We're talking 7, 8 figures, and then you're saying that there's also that group where it's 1 to 10 million, but there's also another group that's less than $1 million. So if you were to categorize different mindsets, like what differentiates the mindsets of these owners and companies from less than $1 million, 1 to 10 million, and 10 million above?
Yeah, I think the companies that are less than $1 million, there are two types of people that within that bracket as well. There's one type that will be destined to be bigger than less than $1 million. They're just starting. They're doing the business. Maybe this is first, second year of their business. They're less than $1 million, but they are thinking about growth. They're thinking about getting the best people to help them, getting the right, I guess, consultants, or the right coaches, or the right accountants, the right tax guys to help them. These guys, they will break free from the $1 million. They'll go to the next 10. They're setting their business up for success. And there are others who are, they're more like solo entrepreneurs, I think, or people that are not thinking big. They just think, "Oh, I'm just going to do this like a job, like a job." Okay, if you can earn, 900,000 in a job, that is a pretty good job, right? But as an entrepreneur, getting to 900,000 is actually not that easy either, because you got to get, what we all call product market fit. And product market fit means that you have to do so many things. The entrepreneur is someone who does everything, right? For the under $1 million, they pretty much do most of the stuff. And then they employ people, very, very necessary people to do what needs to be done. But they want to, there's kind of, you say, in the business type, right? And then the 1 to 10 mil, that is where you employ a few people, depending on what sort of business you have. And if you employ a few people, if you have the right people in your business, and if you have the right processes, and you have the right market, you are good at looking at different markets as well. So you're not sort of with a set mindset. Your mindset needs to be kind of very, what is it? Open mindset, learning mindset. Then get your process in place and everything, the right sales process, the right BD, the right delivery, really wow your customers, and get your customer returning. Then you can very quickly get to 10 mil. It's not that hard from 1 mil to 10 mil. Although I've seen some companies that are, have been 3-4 mil for the last 10 years. And in that case, I identify that in that case, it is very easy to get to the 12 or find $12 million in that business just by looking at them in half an hour. But the problem is not the business. The problem is actually the founder, because the founder has a closed mindset. The founder has a know-it-all mindset.
Yeah.
So, whatever you tell them, I know it, but I'm not going to do it. That is a problem. You got to be really coachable, isn't it? Because you don't know everything that, your business have been like that 3, 4 for the last 10 years. There is a reason to it. So what you need to do is to actually listen to people who has, done it before, who knows the bigger numbers, what to go, where to do. So I think that's the thing that kind of peeve a lot of the companies that don't grow beyond the 10 mil. And then from 10 to 100 mil, that's really where you are able to scale. So whether your product or your services are able to be scaled is a big question. A lot of the heavy service ones are not easily scalable because they need a lot of people. But there are companies that are pivoting or scaling by making the people doing the very intelligent work and making the machines doing what they call artificial intelligence, right? They call artificial intelligence for a reason, because they basically take the information and do the analyzing as a machine in the big background and give you the result. And the people can actually use the result to do more things. And those are the companies that can actually scale beyond 100 mil and more. And, obviously there are a lot of traditional businesses that are beyond 100 mil. But I see that, in the future, all businesses that are, all bigger businesses has to be very good at using technology, either, basically them being the technology provider or them using technology that are make their product and services very easily scalable. So
now when you talk about those people who has that know-it-all mindset, right? You have the answer, you have a way to help them scale and grow their business, but they're so reluctant to apply some of those concepts into their business. How do you navigate through that? Because that's very common in business, in relationships, in everything that we do. So how do you convince somebody who's so like stuck in their mindset?
I think you break it down, basically. So we had to get, basically in that session, this is one of the boardroom sessions, we broke it down and demonstrated so that he actually got really emotional as well. And, it's like sometimes you need someone to, I think the thing is like, you're inside the box. You need someone to tell you what's written on the outside, to see what you don't see. Because if like the founder itself, if it's they think they know it all, then they're not going to grow. It's just like that, right? So you just really have to say, do you want to grow? Are you really serious on growing beyond the 10 mil, or are you just comfortable with doing what you do now? And, maybe that is a lifestyle as well. Some people are just happy to, to deal with an average life, which is fine. People, it's a world. Everyone has their own, I guess, what makes them happy, what they want to do. So I think sometimes it is hard, getting them to realize that they are the problem of the business. That is very hard. They just don't want to listen to that, So you just have to drum it into them. And sometimes if you find that they're not actually doing what you ask them to do, sometimes you have to say, hey, we have tried to help you. We've given you all the things that we think you need. You're not doing the work. So sorry, but sometimes you have to say no, right? Right. It's like getting the negative people out of your life. If someone who who says I know it, or who says that I'm not going to do it, that is a negative person in your life as well, right?
Right. Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned before that you sat down for 30 minutes and goes, look, 12 million. That's what you're losing right there. 30 minutes. So if
Yeah.
somebody comes up to you and go, hey, I need you to help us grow. I need you to help us set it up so that we can sell it later. What's the steps that you take? Is there things that you could implement quickly that most common businesses are missing right now? Or is it very different for every single business?
Yeah, it is quite different for every single business, but there is a general theme, right? You can see a lot of times the businesses are bleeding cash. So why are they bleeding cash? It's either that they're not getting the revenue quickly enough, not getting enough customers, or they're not charging their customers enough. There's a trade-off. If they're charging their customers too much, their customers will walk. But if you have a customer that even been servicing, and you're satisfying them, and you're buying them with the experiences, they're happy to pay more. And so that time when we look at the $12 million was really looking at their customer base, all the customers that they have. Some of them have been with them for 10 years, but they're charging the same rate as they were charging them 10 years ago. So, okay, that is an easy one, right? There's inflation. Even if they don't do anything, there's a CPI. Inflation, you need to add the CPI on it. You need to charge them same as the others. You might want to give them some benefit as being a loyal customer, but it can't be like 10, 20% of the things that you're charging the other customers. That's not really something that you should do, right? So it's either the revenue side or the expense side. Sometimes founders are investing in things that they're spending big on marketing, spending big on advertising, spending big on entertainment, things like that. Is like, okay, are you getting the ROI on your marketing? Are you guys getting the ROI on your advertising? Sure, all businesses need to do advertising and marketing, but what is the best bang for the buck? That's the thing that you need to look at. So revenue, expenses, and the other thing is capital. Are they using their capital, their assets most efficiently? One company that I know, they put in a brand new manufacturing equipment just before the pandemic, and the pandemic hit. And before the pandemic, they're earning $10 million in annual revenue. And when the pandemic hit, because they were actually manufacturing for export. The export bills, they all dried up. And then they have the brand spanking new equipment that could have taken them to $100 million in revenue. And now the equipment is sitting idle, and it's actually they're doing 1/10 of the revenue that they were doing before. So that's really, that's a revenue problem, that's a marketing problem, but it's also a asset utilization problem. So what we do then, you could actually do contract manufacturing for others, utilizing your thing. It's like, okay, I have my house here. I'm not using it. Can I rent it out? That's just common sense, isn't it? Sometimes business owners don't think of that. They are just, they think, oh, what am I going to do? The good and bad thing for this particular owner is that their assets are actually bought and paid for by the previous, $10 million in revenue. So they're not actually in debt to banks. Because think about if they have the assets and then they had to pay the interest and pay the principal to banks, then I think they would have gone under, Wow. It is like that. Yeah. So, sorry, where am I? Yeah. So the big things, and a lot of times it is still coming back to the people as well. The founders, they have a mindset that some of them are thinking, hey, I have these staff have been working for me for the last 10 years. Even though they may not be the best staff, they're loyal. So I'm going to keep them. Yes, that you want to reward the loyal people, but are they still the right people for your business?
Right.
Because what time change, and in terms of the skill set are changing, skill sets are changing every day. If these people have been loyal, but they're also very open to learning, they're keep taking on new skill sets, and actually performing, sure, look at your people and say who are the A people, who are the B people, who are the C people,
Yeah.
and look at whether you want to look some of the deal with your C people.
Yeah.
But I think people is very interesting as well. I had someone working for me previously. He was like a 20-year-old employee. He's like 50 something when he reported to me. This was more than 10 years ago. And he was like this steady as it goes, but he's like, he doesn't do anything beyond. So I thought, why is that the case? So I actually had a really good chat with him and realized that he's not the right fit for that particular job.
Right.
So I found him another job, and he was like the big star. He just went like that. Sometimes it's like you got to find the right employees for the right job. It's
Mhm.
not easy.
It's so easy. You're saying it's good because you're so successful at it.
No. I'm saying it. No. I'm saying it's not easy.
Oh,
it's not easy. People is not easy. But the businesses where we're all dealing with people, and that's the most important thing, I think, in any business. The biggest asset is the other people, and if they don't have the right people,
Let me rephrase that. Growing a company and increasing the revenue to 12 million plus is easy. Dealing with people is hard. Now, something I really admire about you is that you mentioned it a few times about skill sets growing. For you, you're already really successful. You really don't need to go out and learn about branding and marketing and go to conferences and do all this stuff. You're managing all these big accounts anyways, but you still go out there and do it. You still go out there and do guest appearances. You do panels and talks and presentations and networking. Why is that? Why is that something that you're still so involved with?
Yeah, for me, those sort of things for me, it's actually giving back to the community. It gives you branding as well. I mean, for me, I didn't have to brand myself all through my career, and this is actually a new thing that started in 2018 when I started my business. I had to brand my business, but I didn't realize at the time that I already had a brand that I didn't realize. It's like sometimes when you are not thinking about these sort of things, you just do it. And I had my APAC Women's Mentoring Circle back then as well, because I'm passionate about helping women, or helping Asian women, or Asia Pacific women specifically, to break the glass and bamboo ceilings. You're aware of what the bamboo ceiling is, right?
I was like, that's a new one for me, so you have to explain
really?
that a bit.
My God.
I've heard of I know the glass ceiling, the bamboo ceiling.
Yeah.
That's an Asian twist to the glass ceiling.
It is true. It came from a book, 1995's one of the ladies, I think as Asian American, she actually wrote a book about it, and saying that there's as big numbers in I don't know how many Asians are in America now, or you're in Canada. So, but anyway, in Australia we had I think last count, we had 10% or 12% Asian, or people with Asian descent in Australia, but only 0.3% of the judiciary was Asian. Only like 1% of the CEOs in large corporations of Asian descent. So it is like disproportionate. So how do we actually break it through? And for me, it's like Asian women has this double whammy of the mindset in women. It's like, okay, we kind of limiting ourselves, limiting beliefs. We don't think we're worthy. We don't think we're good for a job. We have to look at the job description and think we can do all the 10 things before we apply for a job. But for men or Anglo-Saxon men, they probably can do too, and they will say, "Hey, I'm going to put my head into it." What's the downside, right? And you hear so many things about people, well, just act as if you know how to do it, just say yes and find out how to do it later. That's not a mindset that most Asians, with the traditional mindset you'll have, because Asians are the one that are down, hardworking, don't tell people what you do, just do things and wait, and someone will notice you. But that's not what happens in the Western world, right? We have to tell people what we do. We have to promote ourselves. We have to help others along the way as well. So that's why I'm doing all those things. It's really to help, try to change something and also help others. And like I always thought, if I had this group, 20 years ago, before I started my career, or maybe 26 years ago, and before I started my career, where would I have been? I could probably have started my business 10 years earlier than I did, It is like that. Or I could have gone to become a CEO of a company or something. But because I had my limited mindset when I was going through the profession, I was thinking, okay, I'm this see it, like I was going on the finance route, so I'm not going to be good as a CEO. But it doesn't matter, because within the 170,000 members for CPA Australia, we have 25,000 that are CEOs. Yeah. We didn't, the numbers are out there, but I wonder how many of the 25,000 CEOs are actually women, or women from an Asian background. So that's why I do it.
That's very, very impressive for somebody who says that were battling against limiting beliefs, to the person who's telling CEOs how to make money and dealing with big figures. Now, for also, like, not only do you have to gain that confidence to jump out there and do what you need to do as a very successful woman, you also have to convince other people that what you do is what you're good at. Right. I assume a lot of people would underestimate you, because you don't have that portrayal of somebody dealing with big numbers.
I'm not this macho man, right?
You walk in the door and then all of a sudden, wow, this person is dealing with these figures. That's amazing. Like, so how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the people who underestimate you?
I show them what I'm capable of. Yeah, I like to tell stories, not tell examples, not tell stories, not in that sense. Like, telling a story is not like telling a porky. I don't know. Do you hear that? Telling a fib, telling a porky? That may be Australian slang. I don't know.
Yeah, the second term I didn't catch.
Porky, telling a porky.
Okay.
Porky like a pork. I don't know where that came from, but people just say you're telling a porky. Okay, so yeah. So tell them stories about experiences I had with helping other people. Like I don't know. I spoke in front of a few hundred people, and just basically I was talking about, let's say, getting businesses ready to exit. So I just tell them, okay, so this is what I did to get a business ready for exit. And this is what I did to getting another business ready for exit. I kind of focusing on the different types of businesses and looking at, okay, ask the audience, where are you? Are you in a business in 1 to 10 mil? Are you under 10 mil? Under 1 mil? Are you in a services business? Are you in a manufacturing businesses? Or you're in a so it's like asking the audience, and then make it so that you actually reflect what the audience want to know, want to learn. So it's always it happens in a big impact where you have a big room full of people. It also happens when you have one-on-one discussions with others, asking others what they want, and trying to get it out of them, so that you can actually give them what they think they want, and then give them examples to deal with that, so they can oh, actually I can learn from that. I need to do that. I need to get that, and obviously branding really helps as well, getting getting branding by association. But a lot of what I do nowadays is more actually, just getting out there and talking to people. And I'm lucky now that I don't actually have to prospect, because people just come to me. I'm very lucky that I can choose my clients as well.
Yeah.
I am very careful about who I choose as a client, because I know, I've been there. I know how hard it is when you work with a client that basically just talk the talk and not actually doing the real thing, not act.
Yeah.
It makes it really hard, because you want to help them prepare their business for sale or prepare their business to raise capital. And I know what the investors want and what the buyers want, but they are not listening to it. And in that case, it's an effort that, everyone only have 24 hours in their day, right? And so you have to choose the people that you can help. Yeah.
Now, this is my last formal question for you. If you were put on the world stage and you had one message that you can share for everybody to remember Cissy for, your legacy message, what would that be?
My legacy message. That's a great question. I want people to remember me as someone who helps women, who helps APAC women specifically with their career advancement and with their business requirements to, venture requirements to grow and sell their businesses as well. Yeah.
Well, that's something that's very, very important, and I'm sure you've helped so many people, and so many people are already very grateful to know who you are and have you help them out. This time has gone by very fast. Before I let you go, I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions. Give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Right? So you're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What would that be?
Oh my! One food to eat for the rest. Does tomato act as a fruit or vegetable?
Oh, one food, any food.
Oh, food, and not necessarily fruit. Okay, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. Yeah, I love tomatoes. I think I'll go for tomatoes.
That's very close to, somebody said broccoli. I'm like, what? Hollywood calls and says, hey, Cissy, we really want to do a biopic on you. Who would you cast to play your best friend?
A what? A biopic? What is that?
They want to do a movie story about your life.
Uh-huh.
And you get to pick any actor, any actress, any person to play your best friend in that movie. Who would that be?
Play my best friend. So my best friend is a lady, so I have to find a lady. But I really there's some really good movie stars as men, so I don't know. Actually don't know the answer to that one. Yeah, it's drawing a blank at the moment. Sharon Stone. I don't know. No, I don't know. Never mind. Pass on that one.
We'll find out later. So this mystery person says, hey, Cissy, I got the job. I'm going to be playing your best friend. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. Boy, I'm hungry. What's that special dish that you can cook for this person?
Eggs.
Nice and simple.
I am not a very big, I can't cook very much. I can cook so that I don't starve. But very simple dishes. I just do very simple dishes. So, but eggs are very good that you can have so many variations, right? You can do the poached, you can do the fried, you can do anything, right? So
I think I had somebody answer cup noodles, so eggs are much better.
Oh, there you
go. Do you have a special talent that not many people know about? Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you do sport? Like, what's the special talent that you can show off?
Oh, special talent. I don't. I'm very very vanilla. Well, I suppose I can play some instruments that people probably have never heard me playing. I can play the harmonica.
Wow.
Yeah, I can play the harmonica, which is it's an ancient instrument, right? But it's so easy. Yeah.
Next time we get on this show, we're gonna need you to do a solo.
Right. Okay.
Give me a number from 1 to 4.
1 to 4. 1.
Number 1. So if you were to relate success to hats, how would you say that success is like a hat?
Success is like a hat. Success is like a hat. There are so many different kinds of hats, right? And there are success is different for everyone. So hats are different. It works for different people. Different types of hats works for different people. And success is something that you can, I guess, you can break through with, different hats, and you can, I don't know. It's very hard. Yes, very strange. Hats. Okay. Yes, and you can be a very extravagant hat. Success can be seen as an extravagant success, but then that doesn't actually mean that is a great hat for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, well done. Thank you very much. So that's how success is like hats.
Yeah.
Any last words from you that you would like to share that we haven't got a chance to touch on?
No. I'm very happy, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And I can't believe how quickly time flies. It's 7:48. We've got to get on to another meeting now. But for me, it's like I want to, leave a legacy, right? I want to be known for, and this is what I'm doing right now as well. So in my life, I have this giving bit that I always do is, as the Australian, the award that you were talking about, the Australian China Alumni Awards, is actually for for community services. Because I do so many volunteering things for the CPA. I do volunteering for mentor walks for women, also inspiring rebels, where we inspire the next generation of women entrepreneurs. And then I actually contribute money and fund female ventures as well through Coralus, which is used to be SheEO, actually originated from Canada. Coralus, and we've helped more than 130 entrepreneurs around the world in 5 countries and funded their businesses, helped them businesses grow at least 3 times over the last few years. So it's all of those things accumulated in together. And when you give back, good things comes back. I don't have to ask for things, because there's a lot of people who are out there actually helping me, trying to find jobs, but trying to find businesses for me to help.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
It's good karma, I think. Right? Good karma.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I know your time is very valuable. And for anybody else who wants to connect with you, get involved with what you're doing, or apply for some of those grants and funds that you're putting together, what's the best way to reach out?
Oh, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I have all my details on LinkedIn. So Cissy Ma, and you can just find. I'm probably I am the first one when you type in Cissy Ma. I think I've got 23,700 connections or something like that. Yeah. So it's Awesome. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn, or they can search this company, Grow and Sell Your Biz. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
so
you.
For everybody, make sure you connect with Cissy Ma. Absolutely amazing person, great personality, very down to earth, and very, very powerful when it comes to helping your business grow, scale, and also sell those businesses. Once again, thank you very much for your time. For everybody else, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. She is Cissy. My name is Fong. We'll see you later.
Thank you.